Dehi. Maniya Ravate Dehi. Navatina Karma Vistanute Deham Ubhayantya Vivek. Deham Okay, I will read straight the translation because we don't have much time. The living entity who has received his present body because of his past fruitive activity may end the result of his action in this life, but this does not mean that he is liberated from bondage to material bodies. The living entities receive one type of body, and by performing actions with that body, he creates another. Thus, he transmigrates from one body to another through repeated births and death because of his gross ignorance. Purport His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. The living entity's evolution through different type of body is conducive automatically by the law of nature in bodies other than those of human beings. In other words, by the law of nature, Prakrite Kriyamanani, the living entity evolves from lower grades of life to the human form. Because of his developed consciousness, however, the human being must understand the constitutional position of the living entity and understand why he must accept a material body. This chance is given to him by nature, but if he nonetheless acts like an animal, what is the benefit of human life? In this life, one must select the goal of life and act accordingly. Having received instruction from the spiritual master and the Shastra, one must be sufficiently intelligent. In the human form of life, one should not remain foolish and ignorant, but one must inquire about his constitutional position. This is called Atato Brahma Jigyasa. The human psychology gives rise to many questions which various philosophers has considered and answered with various types of philosophy based upon mental concoction. This is not a way of liberation. The Vedic instructions say, Tatta Vigyartam Sa Guru Eva Vigachet. To solve the problems in life, one must accept a spiritual master. Tamad Guru Prapadye Jigyasyu Shreya Uttamam. If one is actually serious in inquiring about the solution of material existence, one must approach a bona fide guru. Tadvidi paripratena paripraksena sevaya upadichanti te jnanam jnaninas tadvadarshina. Just try to learn the truth by approaching the spiritual master, inquire from him submissively, and render service unto him. The self-realized soul can impart knowledge unto you because he has seen the truth. Bhagavad Gita 4:34. One must approach a bona fide spiritual master by surrendering himself, pranipatena, and rendering service. An intelligent person must inquire from the spiritual master about the goal of life. A bona fide spiritual master can answer all such questions because he has seen the real truth. Even in ordinary activities, we must consider gain and loss, and then we act. Similarly, an intelligent person must consider the entire process of material existence and then act intelligently, following the directions of the bona fide spiritual master. Karmani arabate dehi dehanatmanubartina karmani tatute deham uvayantu abhibekata. The living entity who has received his present body because of his past fruitive activities may end the result of his action in this life, but this does not mean that he is liberated from bondage to material bodies. The living entity receives one type of body, and by performing action with that body, he creates another. Thus, he transmigrates from one body to another through repeated birth and death because of his gross ignorance. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Sivasati Gaura Bhaktavrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. We have been listening about living entity who transmigrate from different type of body due to ignorance. It's translated here like gross ignorance. Because if you have knowledge, and then we will try to achieve liberation and not become entangled over and over again in different material bodies. And we saw in the previous verse that is all due to lust or the desire for enjoying this material world, especially due to sexual pleasure. And we know that sexual pleasure is the biggest pleasure in this material world, but it's the activity that keeps us more and more entangled in the material world, because the natural consequence or reaction of sex is progeny. And progeny or kids, they give a lot of troubles. So we end up with something that we didn't want. We want to enjoy, but we want just a good part of life. The enjoyment, but we don't want the result of the enjoyment, which is kids. So Srila Prabodhananda Saraswati often described Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as a lion. Actually, this is one of the names of Krishna, Hari. And even though there are different meanings for Hari, one of them is a lion, like we say Narahari, half man, half lion. And why is Prabodhananda Saraswati describing, or why they describe Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as a lion? Well, one of the reasons is that he got a golden complexion like a lion. Another reason that he got a mane, long hairs, like a mane of a lion. He got a broad chest and a thin waist like a lion. And he was also born in Rakshi Nakshatra, which is a Leo constellation of a lion. And mainly because when Lord Chaitanya was traveling through South India, he used to stay in caves. And it is said that when he was going into the cave, he will roar like a lion. And all the animals there, all the wild animals like elephants and tigers and lions and all the other animals, they will run out of fear for their lives. So Prabhupada Saraswati is saying that if we invite Lord Chaitanya in our hearts, and then he will roar, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. And then all the animals, like wild animals, like lust, envy, anger, and all the other bad qualities will run for their lives. So this is the analogy why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is sometimes called Hari. I will appreciate a little bit of water if possible. Yeah, thank you. So today is a very special day. And actually, there are so many things happening today. Today is Krishna Pula Dosha Shalila Viraha. I had no clue what it was, but I had to Google it. And this is the one in Krishna Valar Mandir. They fill up the how do you call it? The courtyard. Thank you. And they fill it with water, and they put a boat, and they put the small Radha Krishna there in a boat. It's a wonderful arrangement. I was there actually last year when they did it, but it was impossible to take darshan because there were so many people. It was practically impossible. I could hardly see the deities. But anyway, I try. And also today is Parameshwari Das Thakur, Srila Madhavendra Puri, and Srinivasacharya. And also today is the appearances of Radharamanji. So due to limitations of time, I will only focus on Radharaman, if you don't mind. And perhaps another time we can talk about the other acharyas. So we cannot talk about Radharaman without talking about Gopal Bhatta Goswami, because Radharaman appeared due to the desire of Gopal Bhatta Goswami. So Gopal Bhatta Goswami, he was born in 1503 in Rangam, which is in South India, where there is a famous deity of Ranganath. And he was the son of Venkateshwara, which was a very prominent Brahmana from Sri Sampradaya in those days. So one time, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was visiting Sri Rangam, and Venkateshwara, he invited Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to his house. And Lord Chaitanya decided to stay there for 4 months in the house of Venkateshwara and young Gopal Bhatta Goswami, which at that time he was only 10 years old. So when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was staying in his house, Gopal Bhatta Goswami had the chance to render a lot of menial service for Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He was massaging his feet. He was serving him in different ways. And when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu arrived, the first thing that Venkateshwara did was Abhishek. He did Abhishek. He washed the lotus feet of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And he gave the Charanamrita to Gopal Bhatta Goswami, who was just a kid. And he drank all the Charanamrita. And he was weeping and crying while he was drinking the Charanamrita. And the most obvious reason, apart from is the Charanamrita, I mean, anyone will be crying, I guess, if you're drinking the Charanamrita directly from the feet of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, is that Gopal Bhatta Goswami is an Angamanjari in the spirit in Goloka Vrindavan, which is the younger sister of Srimati Radharani. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu being combination of Krishna and Radharani, so he was reunited again with Srimati Radharani in the form of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So he spent a lot of blissful experiences with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and he became very attached to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Gopal Bhatta Goswami. And then what happened is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared in a dream one time to Gopal Bhatta Goswami, and he told him, if you want to see me, if you want to have my darshan, you should go to HG Gandaki in Nepal. And then Gopal Bhatta Goswami, he developed this desire to visit HG Gandaki, but this is 500 years ago. There were no planes, there were no trains, no taxi. So this is I will make a long story short. He decided to go to HG Gandaki. And actually, before that, when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was still in his house, he was complaining to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu that he didn't have the chance to see his childhood pastimes, like Nimai Pandit in his Grihastha life and so on. So one time, he had another dream previous to the Gandaki one. He had a dream that in which he saw Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as Nimai Pandit on the bank of the Ganges with Nityananda Prabhu and all his associates. And in that moment, when Nityananda Prabhu saw Gopal Bhatta Goswami, he was approaching to him, he was getting closer to him. And in that moment, he woke up. And he was totally in ecstasy about the dream. So he ran to the room of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. But when he opened the door, he didn't see Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He saw Krishna playing on the flute with a blue complexion. So after 1 second, he saw that this form changed and he became Nimai Pandit. And then after 1 second, he became again the sannyasi who was visiting his house with orange robes and shaved head. So he developed this love for Krishna from a very early age. So that moment, after 4 months, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu decided to go to Jagannath Puri. And then Gopal Bhatta Goswami, he said, I want to go with you. Please allow me to go with you. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, no, you should stay and take care of your parents because they were already elderly. So Gopal Bhatta Goswami decided to stay. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, after that, you can go to Vrindavan. After they leave their bodies, you can go to Vrindavan. And then take shelter of Rupa and Sanatana Goswami. So after the departure of his parents, he had a choice because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was still in South India, which was not so far actually from where he was living, or to go to Vrindavan. But he was so faithful to the instructions of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu that he decided to go to Vrindavan as the instruction of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu rather than go and get his association. So he decided Banu instead of Bapu, which is very instructive, how we always say that the instructions are more important than the association, even though association is also important. So he went, and at that moment, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu sent a letter. In those days, the letters, they were saying not by post, but the Brahmana normally will bring the letter personally. He sent a letter to Rupa and Sanatana Goswamis. And he said, a wonderful boy, Gopal Bhatta, will go to visit you. Please treat him like your younger brother. So when Gopal Bhatta Goswami arrived in Vrindavan, they were received by Rupa Goswami and Sanatan Goswami, and they wrote a letter to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who was still in Jagannath Puri, saying that Gopal Bhatta Goswami had arrived. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, out of kindness, he sent some items. He sent some outer cloth. He sent a kaupina, and he sent something, I think is called kaki. I don't know, maybe, you know. It's like a wooden slab that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu used to sit on, like his remnant. And it is said that when we receive the kaupina of a self-realized person, and then all the material, all the lusty desires in the heart of the devotee gradually disappear. Even one time, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ripped off the kaupin of Nityananda Prabhu. He took all the threads and he gave to devotees as Mahaprasadam, and he said, tie it around your head and all your material desires will disappear. So it's very interesting. So he received all these items of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And then he had this dream that to go to Gandaki River. So he went to Gandaki River, and he decided to take baths in the Gandaki River, as you probably know the story. And he dipped his lota in the water. And when he was about to take bath, he noticed that there were some shalagrams inside the lota. He put the shalagrams back in the river, and then he took another dip of, and then he saw that the same shalagram were still there. They will not go. Because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, understanding the separation of Gopal Bhatta Goswami, he said, if you want my darshan, you will have my darshan when you go to Gandaki River. And it is said that all the shalagrams are not different. All the forms of the Lord are present in each and every shalagram. So Gopal Bhatta Goswami decided to take the shalagrams with him to Vrindavan. And he was worshipping these shalagrams very nicely. Actually, when he was traveling from Rangam to Vrindavan, he passed through a village, and because Lord Chaitanya also instructed him to start to initiate disciples. He met a family, the Sharma family, and they have two nice boys, and they came along with Gopal Bhatta Goswami, and they were assisting him in the worship of shalagrams. So he was worshiping the shalagrams with all his love and devotion, and he will hang these shalagrams in a straw basket. He will hang them from a tree, and he will swing the shalagrams. And he was taking very nice. Even at that moment, there was another famous Goswami, Bhugarba Goswami, who his samadhi is also in the 64 samadhis in the temple of Radha Damodar. And he said that he will always go and just watch how Gopal Bhatta Goswami will perform his puja, because it was something extraordinary. But he also started to develop the desire of having form-like deity to whom he could dress, put ornaments, crowns, peacock feathers, and so on. He started to develop this desire in his heart. And one day, one rich merchant came to Gopal Bhatta Goswami, and he gave him all type of ornaments and cloth and all expensive ornaments to use in the worship of his deity. But he said all these items will go wasted, because how can I use these shalagrams? They don't have a specific, they don't have a Tribangananda form. And Srila Prabhupada said, shalagram worship means you do puja, You put them to sleep, you do puja, you put them to sleep, you put them in a box. This is Shalagram puja. Even though it can be more elaborate, but if you do it like the Goswamis, they used to do like this, just do his puja, put them in a box, and that's it until next day. So he didn't know how he could use this. But then he developed this very strong desire. And then one time again, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came to him in a dream. And he said, don't worry, I know you want to worship him in a human form. I will soon appear from one of your shalagrams. And then you can perform all the puja you want. And also very happy that you have some assistants, Sharma sons, that they are assisting. I'm also happy about that, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said. So he started to become very anxious to have this form. And he was saying to his deity, come on, I know you are there. I know, like, Nishinha, they came out of the pillar. I know you are there, so come on, come out. Lord Chaitanya already promised me, so come on. And then the one point he could not tolerate anymore. Nishikodanita Maya Pusha Chiki, Situlsinath Maharaj Ki Jai, Giridhari Lal Ki Jai, Nishinkari Bhagavan Ki Jai. So he gave the ultimatum to the Shalarams. He said, look, I'm going to take now bath in the Yamuna River. When I come back, I want to see your human-like form. If you don't do that, I will hang you all around my neck, I will drown in the Yamuna River, and I will end my life like this. So they said that the Shalarams became very scared, and they start shaking. Of course, this is something we cannot imitate. We cannot do that with our deities. This can be done only by very highly elevated personalities like Gopal Bhatta Goswami. So to his surprise, when he came back from his bath in the Yamuna River, he saw that one of his Shalarams, Damodar Shalagram, had changed and become the beautiful form of Radharaman. Sisi Radharaman ki jai. And what he wanted specific form. He was very specific how he wanted that form to look like. So he wanted that his face will look like Gopinath. His face like Govinda, his chest like Gopinath, and his feet like Radha Damodar. And it is said if you take darshan of Radharaman, is considered that you are taking darshan of also these other deities. So Radharaman is a very dear form of the Lord, and this is considered like the main deity in Vrindavan, even though there are so many other, you have 7 main deities and there are so many other deities. But Radharaman is considered the most dear deity in Vrindavan. So when this happened, all the Goswamis, Rupa, Sanatan, all the other Goswamis, Lokanath Goswami, Jiva Goswami, all the other Goswami, they came to celebrate and to congratulate Gopal Bhatta Goswami. But there was a threat at that time of Muslim attack in Vrindavan. So in a place now that there is a Radharaman temple, there was a lake. So they said that overnight they used to put the deity in a boat there and leave them in the middle of the lake on a boat. And there was somebody guarding the deity with bow and arrow all night. And they said that these arrows, they have homemade poison. They was so strong, even if they scratch your skin, it will kill you. And they said that even nowadays, I've never seen it. I don't know if you have seen that. They said that these arrows, they are still there in the Radharaman temple. So this is basically the story of Radharaman. And over the years, I have been trying, because for me also it's my favorite deity in Vrindavan. I have been trying to to get some more information about Radharaman and asking the Goswamis, and I have the fortune of being with Padmanabha Goswami, who is the main priest of Radharaman, a few times. And one time he visited Germany, where I was living there with his wife, and I got a special gift from Padmanabha Goswami that I will show you after the class. So don't go anywhere. So the Goswamis are very reluctant to tell you any pastime about Radharaman, because they consider this to be very intimate, and it's very difficult. But one of the pastimes I read about Radharaman, which is quite heavy one, like I was telling yesterday about what happened with my brother, that there was one small kid, one of the son of the Goswamis there. One time he took a stick and he pierced the ear of Radharaman, and they said that there was blood in the stick when they took it out, and this very same day that kid died vomiting blood. So very heavy offense and very heavy reaction. So another time is something very interesting about Radharaman. I don't know if you have seen. I always wait for the last arti, which is around 9:30, 10 o'clock, because it's Vrindavan. It could be any time. It's not like here fixed time. Pujaris are not very regulated in that sense. They are more spontaneous. So they say, okay, come for the arti 9 o'clock. You go there 9 o'clock, 9:30, nothing, 10 o'clock, and then they finally open the curtain 10:30. But at that moment, there is one devotee there that is always playing the flute for Radharaman. So one time I approach him, I say, please tell me, how did it happen? How did it happen that you start playing now for Radharaman? And he said, if Radharaman doesn't give me permission, I cannot tell you. So I was very frustrated. So I started asking other Goswamis there, why he's playing flute. And apparently, Radharaman appeared in a dream to this Goswami, and he told him, I want you to play flute for me every night. And it's so beautiful. You've seen, it's so beautiful how they play. It's like you can hear Krishna's flute. It's so beautiful how he played. And apparently he didn't know how to play flute before. So he just spontaneously, by inspiration, obviously, of Radharaman, he's playing for his pleasure before Radharaman goes to sleep. And another time I spoke with Chandan Goswami, who is the son of Padmanabha Goswami, and he said something very interesting. That sometimes Radharaman show teeth. You can see his teeth. And sometimes you don't see any teeth. Like in this picture, you don't see any teeth of Radharaman. Like he said, sometimes you can see a tooth. Sometimes you can see 2 teeth. Sometimes you see 3. Sometimes the full mouth full of teeth. So this is very interesting. He's so personal. Sometimes he's smiling more. Sometimes he's smiling less according to his mood. It's really special. This Radharaman date is really special, and it's so dear to the devotees. And they say that in the last few years, there was like a group of scientists that they have some doubts whether Radharaman was self-manifested or not. So they investigate the deity, and they could not find any sign of carving on the deity. So it was obvious that Radharaman is self-manifested, even though we just only need to take the statement of the Goswamis, but it is said that there is a still part of Shila from which Radharaman came from on the back of Radharaman. So it's still part of Damodar Shila on the back of Radharaman. So Radharaman attract the minds of everyone, and we see, for me, the most wonderful bhajans, the most wonderful kirtans are there in Radharaman temple. And I have one personal pastime with Radharaman. I'm reluctant to tell you, like Amrita Gopal was saying, he was also reluctant because, these things are personal, but here we are like a family, so maybe I can tell you. And just to see how Radharaman is merciful even with the most fallen. So whenever I go to Vrindavan, the first thing I do, I take shower, I go to Radharaman temple to take darshan. Then I go to Krishna Balaraman, whatever. But one time I was so tired. And then I was staying in NBT in that time. So I arrived in Vrindavan. I was too tired. I said, no, I will go to sleep a little bit and then I will go to see Radharaman. So I went to sleep and I started dreaming about Radharaman. I don't remember what was the dream about. And then when I woke up, Radharaman was in front of me, suspended in the air, like only the head. It was like a big head of Radharaman. And he vanished like a smoke, like this. He vanished like a smoke. I was so shocked, because I was not asleep and it was not in a dream. Was when I woke up, I sat on my bed and I saw Radharaman in front of me. So he's extremely, extremely merciful. So needless to say, I took shower and I ran to Radharaman temple to take darshan. It was very pleasing darshan. So anyway, there are so many things then. And the most special about Radharaman is that he is self-manifesting. Nobody, because any other deities, when they are carved, you need to install them. You need to do all the process for installation. But if they are neglected, then they can also go. But in the case of Radharaman, he's always there. In the case of Radharaman is not the only self-manifested deity. There are quite a few other self-manifested deities. Like Adoksha Prabhu was saying yesterday, there are some also self-manifested Nishinghadevs and some other around India that they are also self-manifested, other forms of Krishna. So this is the beauty, that Radharaman is always there and he will always be there in his form. And one of the reasons Radharaman stays in Vrindavan is that he's very small. He's only 12 inches. Because when there was this Muslim invasion in Vrindavan, they took all the main deities to Jaipur. But because Radharaman is so small, it's just like this big, they could hide him. They had him in a box. And they worship Radharaman in a very opulent way. Actually, Gopal Bhatta Goswami established a very high standard of Radharaman. Srila Prabhupada said that actually we should learn the standard of worship from Radharaman temple, from the Goswamis there. So there, they also, something I found very interesting, that when they offered to Radharaman, because I was asking, I wanted to find out about more details, how did they do the offerings and so on. They don't offer like we offer in a plate. They offer the full pots. They bring all the pots, big pots in front of Radharaman, and they offer all these clay pots. And then after they distribute all this Mahaprasada. Also, last time I went to Vrindavan, I went to the house of Padmalochan Goswami, and we had lunch with him. He invited us for lunch. And because I wanted to find more pastime about Radharaman, but he didn't tell me. But his son was there, and I said, come on, please tell me just one pastime of Radharaman. And he said, okay, I will tell you one, he said. He said, one time, there was the time for do the offering for Radharaman, and we needed some milk. and there was no milk in the kitchen, and there was no milk. There was very late because they do the offering very late, as I say, sometimes 9 p.m. So all the shop was closed. There was no milk. There was no way to find milk. And they said that mysteriously this woman came from out of nowhere and she gave them milk, and she disappeared after. Nobody knows where she came from, or nobody knows where she went after. And anyway, that was very. This is the only thing that he said, the only pastime that he was willing to share. But for sure, devotees who worship him, they have a lot of experience and they have a lot of interactions. He appeared in the dreams sometimes to devotees and instruct them in different ways. So this is, I think, all about Radharaman, self-manifested. I just can't finish with a funny story, because sometimes devotees, they think that this also can happen to anyone. So we have this Prabhu in Argentina, very nice devotee, Lakshman Prabhu. He's really sweet and very nice brahmachari. So one day we were doing Govardhan Puja, and then, they normally make with the halava, they make the heel with the halava. And guys, with the halava, if you don't stir it, it can create like a lump, you call it, yeah? Lump. So looks like the one who was making the halava didn't stir it properly, and then there was a lump of halava, and he thought that this is a self-manifested form of Govardhan. So thank you, bro. So he started worshiping this Govardhan, self-manifested Govardhan, and because they were all new devotees, and he was a senior devotee, and he's very nice. As I say, he's very nice devotee, very sincere, but a bit naive. So he started worshiping this Govardhan Shila until the Govardhan Shila started to get green because it was just semolina. And then GVC in those days, Viravahu Prabhu came and said, Maharaj, I need to show you myself manifested Govardhan Shila. And Maharaj, Viravahu Prabhu, he's from Los Angeles, and he translated all the books from English to Spanish. So he know all the books. And he said, thank you, Prabhu, for sharing your ecstasy. Thank you for sharing your ecstasy, but you can throw away this piece of halava. So this is, we can pray to Krishna to appear in our heart like he appeared in the heart of Gopalabhata Goswami, and then we can develop all the good qualities like Gopalabhata Goswami. So I think the time is up. Is there any question? Or, yeah, Prabhupada.
Just a couple of things I wanted to share. That I believe that when back in the days of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and especially in South India, when devotees got initiated, they would take the embers from that fire yagya, or their initiation, and whenever they did cooking for the deities or some kind of having some yagya, then they would take the fire from that. So their initiation fire was kept going the whole time. And apparently the fire they cooked for Radharaman is the fire which was from Gopal Bhatta Goswami's initiation. That's correct?
Yes, correct. You can see the fire. If you go to the kitchen, you can see the fire still burning.
And there was another thing. One time I went into Radharaman temple. It was summertime, and the floor was completely soaking wet. And what it was is they have a shower over the top of Radharaman to keep him cool, just all day long. They're just bathing him in cool water. So you go in there and you pay your obeisances, in like about an inch deep of Charnamrita. It's quite nectar.
Yeah, they do this in summer times. The devotees food.
Yeah, he's just got coping on and he's showering all day long.
Thank you. Balabhadra Prabhu told us to, he said every day give 100 rupees, and on the fourth day they'll ask you to take prashadam with them upstairs, So sure enough, I did that, and they were giving me those pots of kheer as well. We were getting 4 or 5 pots of kheer, and then on the fourth day, I offered another 100 rupees, and then he said, tomorrow come up, and you can have the Raj Bhoga with us. So we went up, and one of the Goswamis was there, his mother was there, and she'd been doing the cooking, I think. So we got to eat all this sweet rice and sabjis and all kinds of things.
Yes, bro.
So it's just in relation to when you woke up and saw that Radharaman in your room that disappeared. So the year before last, I had a bad accident. I smashed my head open, and it could have been much worse, but I was quite fortunate. I was in hospital for a bit, but it kind of got me to the point of wanting to share more, not hold back anymore, because I've realised I came close to death at that time. And so it's like I kind of got an extra bit of wind in me, which maybe I wouldn't have had. So there's a little pastime I had in Vrindavan. And I know a lot of like experiences like subjective, but they're kind of real to the person, but it's like a subjective experience. So normally, I wouldn't share, but because it's like you said, it's like family, I don't mind. It's not like, I don't feel like it's like sahaja or anything. It's just like my subjective experience I had once. So I was at Radhakund, and I was getting hit up by loads of kids for money, as I was trying to get to the Kund. So I was giving out some rupees and that. And then it got to a point where I'd had enough and of giving out donations. I just wanted to go to Radhakund and bathe and just hold a meditation like that. And a Brahmana was the next person to came to me, asked for a donation. And at that point, I finally said no. And he cursed me, He said, he said, I curse you for not like that. So it was quite heavy. And I carried on, had my bath, and I went back to just near MBT, a little guest house. And the next morning I woke up, I was with a couple of brothers. I don't know if you know the twins, Sridham and Pramanava. So I was with Sridham Prabhu. Then I woke up at like 4 a.m. and I had this thing in my stomach, and I knew I had like a bug, when you wake up early and you've got that it felt like a 24-hour bug, but it was really bad. I was straight into the bathroom vomiting. And then very quickly, it kind of rapidly increased, and I had this really high fever. And I'm lying there, but I'm feeling really cold. And Sridhar's putting this wet sheet over me and under this fan, but I'm feeling really like cold, but I'm actually burning up. And I'm there shivering. He goes to town to get drugs for me, and I start becoming like delirious. Well, I was on my way to that, and I was thinking of the Brahmin. I'm thinking the Brahmin who cursed me the day before, that was like going through my head because it got really bad quickly. And I was actually doing simple maths in my head because I felt like I was starting to lose it in my head. So I was trying to hold it together by doing simple sums. I felt like I was dying. And then, like they talk about Vrindavan, how it's covered, and like we only see the externals, and it's like the sewers and this and that, and many people, even myself, I go there and I don't see the real Vrindavan. And that point, I opened my eyes, and it's like a veil parted, and I kind of saw Radha and Krishna there at the wall, and it was almost like I got like a access to the spiritual world. It's really beautiful because I felt like I was dying, and then I saw that, and then I thought of my 2 daughters that I have, and that brought me back to want to carry on living in the world. And then suddenly I just got better before I went so bad, and then by that evening they went to see a friend down the Thai Prabhu. I don't know if you know, because he was living in Vrindavan, saying, back to Adrian's in a really bad state. It's, you know, and he came, and it's evening now, and I'm already walking up and down the veranda, and Don Tycho thought, no, he's not so bad, he's all right. But I went on this whole journey that day. It was quite, but that experience of the kind of lifting of the veil was very subjective to me, but it was very real, and you know, it leaves those like samskaras, doesn't it? Those impressions that stay with you as you move on. But anyway, I thought I'll just share that.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, intimate.
Actually, had a similar story from the mother. She saw herself leaving the body, and she was so peaceful and so happy. And then she saw she's going towards Krishna. She was seeing that she was going towards Krishna, and she was so happy. But then she remembered she had a daughter, and then she decided to come back. But she was feeling like this. Yeah. You see. Anyway. Okay, this is a surprise I have for you. Radharaman Kaupina that I got from Padmanabha Goswami. So maybe you can open it and touch the devotees with it.
Thank you for the class, Prabhu. I just had one small question, as you were mentioning earlier that, you know, the Radharaman temple, they have like very high deity worship standards. So, just one day I was on live on internet and watching Pujaris offering Aarti to Radharaman. And before they start offering Aarti, they make some hand signs. They do something like something. Yeah. Do you know what they are and what they signify? Something.
I know some mudras. I don't know specifically which one you saw. Yeah, but I saw some mudras. Yeah, like these kind of things. Yeah, this normally used for offering. Well, there are mudras for everything. There are mudras for everything. But like when you offer food, you can do mudras to purify the food, to purify the water before offering. Yeah. Yeah, it's very common. In other temples, they do a lot of mudra. Here, we keep it very simple, but yeah. I know one Maharaj, Krishna Kshetra Maharaj, whenever he does a puja to Prabhupada, he does all the mudra for each item. It's very elaborate. He does very elaborate with all the mudras. Normally, we keep it simple. Okay, thank you very much. Sri Radharaman Ki Jai.